Alright, so we have some new shoes to test here. Now, this is the Brooks Glycerin Max, which I've seen a lot of hype surrounding it, basically ever since we got some leaked prototype images of this floating around on social media a few months ago. And well, I finally grabbed a pair, mostly out of curiosity, as I'll have to say, max cushion shoes are not normally my cup of tea, but yeah, I decided to give this one a chance. And yeah, just want to have a very quick look at the standard Glycerin here versus the new Max. But doing a comparison between these two is fairly pointless, honestly, because these are two completely different shoes, really. Now, the standard Glycerin has a 10mm drop, where the new Max version has a 6mm drop. And well, obviously a much higher stack height, so you end up having way more foam under the forefoot here. And the standard Glycerin is a fairly traditional kind of setup. It's pretty flexible and not very rockered, so kind of an old school shoe, where the Glycerin Max, well, this has a pretty aggressive rocker here, so it sort of dips upwards. And if I try to bend this, now there's no plate in this, but it's really not bending at all. Yeah, I've done 2 runs in this already, and well, I've been a bit confused, to be honest. So Brooks makes a lot of claims here about energy return, which is something that I always find a bit confusing on a shoe that is this heavy, as this one actually comes in at 273 grams, which makes this the heaviest shoe that I have. Yeah, I mean, so far I can't honestly say that this has been a very convincing shoe for me, but I'm about to head out on another run in this, and yeah, I'll take you along there and see how we go. Yeah, this is not the most runnable route through Luxembourg here, but definitely is pretty scenic. One thing that Brooks just always does really well is the uppers on their shoes. I have to say, just this very first initial step in is pretty incredible with this one. Now, it's not a breathable upper in any way. It does have these perforations here, but it's pretty warm, and it is very padded. Like, it is really luxurious in a way. Yeah, pretty sturdy heel counter back here, and yeah, it's just incredibly comfortable. Wraps the foot well. It's not overly wide or narrow. Just slipping this on foot, you get the impression that this is a company that has really refined their uppers, and yeah, it's just really perfected in a way. Okay, as I'm going down these stairs here, I do want to point out that this is an incredibly stable shoe, which you wouldn't really expect maybe at 45mm of heel stack. And I think the stability with this one is partly due to the upper as well, as it's so sort of thick and very foot hugging. Plus you have this extremely wide base, of course, that looks a bit like a pancake really. The foam, yeah, not super soft, so there's not a lot of squishing in this. So when I got this shoe, I was kind of expecting this to be like really soft and spongy underfoot, and kind of been a bit surprising because it's not that compressive really. See, this DNA tuned foam, that's what they're calling it, it's much more of a rebound material. Yeah, it's so bouncy and trampoline-like underfoot that you kind of can't help but feel that this foam might be sort of wasted in a way on this shoe. Yeah, I mean, just look at this shoe. It's an absolute behemoth. It's 45mm of heel stack plus a quite considerable sidewall as well. Yeah, the super wide base, it's just sort of, I mean, everything about this shoe says that this is a absolute max cushion plodder for your slowest days. But then you have this really bouncy and responsive feeling foam and this pretty aggressive rocker. I mean, it's pretty flat here, and then it sort of dips upwards here and has this kind of feeling of tipping you off a stair in a way, and it's sort of just a bit conflicting. Yeah, I mean, just on my easy runs, I kind of felt like this foam wasn't really engaging all the way. Like, I was just not really putting enough force into this. Yeah, I think one of the reasons why this is such a weird shoe for me is because I just might be a bit too light for this. I mean, I'm 55 kilos and I mean, just look at this thing. It's basically half as tall as I am. Yeah, I feel like I'm not really putting enough force into this foam to really compress it enough. This rocker feels like it's been a bit strangely placed in this shoe. It kind of feels like it wants to move you forwards, but the shoe is so heavy and so bulky that there's just no way of getting up to pace in this. Now, I am a naturally pretty high cadence runner. Most of my runs fall around 183 steps per minute. Well, with this one, it's been more around 179, which is kind of a red flag for me in a way, because I always feel like this high cadence and choppy style is kind of what works well for me and makes me relatively efficient. Yeah, this it kind of feels like, I don't know, the shoe is so heavy and so sort of bulky underfoot that I just get this weird kind of sensation of hard work when I'm picking up my feet. Like, I also have a pretty high heel kick, and yeah, this shoe just doesn't really feel like it wants to lift me off the ground in a way. Like, it's just sort of a bit too much weight underfoot, if that makes any sense. So obviously, I mean, I watched all the videos on this shoe, all the reviews and all the shoe tuber hype, and one of Brooks' claims is that this shoe makes running feel easier, and I'm not really convinced it does. I mean, at this weight, it's kind of hard for me to make a case for this being a very efficient shoe. And yeah, once again, I do have to say, maybe I'm just too light for these shoes, and this kind of max cushion style shoe is just not the right shoe for me. I mean, even the Alpha Fly feels kind of heavy to me. Yeah, maybe this really is suited better to heavier runners. Just as a recovery shoe, this would definitely come in useful, even if it's not the most natural kind of running experience. But then again, I do have to say, well, it's 200 euros. And spending 200 euros on a shoe that's, you know, just very limited to one kind of pace, and even that recovery pace doesn't quite feel like it's the right kind of geometry. It's just kind of a bit hard to justify. Okay, so before I drive home here, I do want to give a bit of a conclusion, as I still feel like I've been a bit sort of uncertain about this one. And well, I think at the end of the day, what it comes down to is always the question of, do you actually enjoy running in the shoe? Yeah, I just have to be honest here, I can't say that I did. Like I said, at the end of the day, I think it comes down to me not really being the right runner for this shoe. Yeah, I mean, this has still been a really interesting experience. I mean, I have never had a shoe that is this cushioned before, but I don't really think I'm gonna get that much more use out of it. So I think that's about it on this shoe. Hope you found this interesting. Like and subscribe as always, and I'll see you on the next one. Prochain train 69 69.